What's up, humans, and welcome to a second Psicoactivo today. Okay, the other things that I saw happening yesterday when I wasn't able to give you guys a video was the reaction from the astronomer himself, Professor Nikku Madhusudhan from the University of Cambridge. He used the data of the James Webb Telescope to detect these chemical fingerprints of algae and potentially even fungi. So I'm gonna do a read through of everything that he says on this video from Cambridge, but I don't know if it's gonna be allowed by the YouTube algorithm. I'm gonna go step by step. But before I do that, I do want to show you something that I found fascinating. And I'm gonna do like a full video on both things. But I do want to show you this. And this just happened in Mexico City yesterday, I think it was. You guys know I don't really do that many UFO videos. There are many very compelling and interesting ones from, for example, when the whole Israel conflict was at its peak, there were many sightings there. Those were interesting. Last week, I think I did one as well in Russia, allegedly. Many of you seem to thought that it was a helicopter, and it does seem to have like a rotor, but I don't know if it was. It seemed really strange. It had some weird kind of smoky features to it, but the smoke even seemed really strange. Right now, I stand my position that I think it was probably a drone, but it may be something else. I don't know. But this one is really wild. And I want to take this time to give my friend UFO Bloke a shout out because this guy has been sharing my content for a while, especially about the mummies. He's from Australia, if I'm not mistaken. And he just posted this that I found really, really interesting. And I'm going to show it to you guys. Here it is. This happened in Mexico City and it was reported everywhere. It's real. It happened. There was a meteor that was falling potentially on a populated area, which could have been a major disaster. But we're going to play this repeatedly so you guys can see what happened and let me know what you think because it's really wild to me. Here it is. So this is the meteor going. Do you guys see that at the top? That just appeared out of nowhere. And the meteor was on a trajectory potentially going to this populated area right here. And then this little dot appears, which I think is a UFO. And see what happens with the trajectory of this meteor right there. Did you see that? And then that UFO appeared. What the hell happened there? Let's play it again. And then there were videos after this event took place. I don't know. Let me know what you think about this. What do you make of it? It seems, I don't know if this is accurate or not, but it seems like this meteor that was going straight to a populated area in Mexico City was deviated by something. And coincidentally, at the same time it was deviated, that little dot appeared right above it. And that little dot, to me, seems to be a UFO. So, what happened there? Was this a UFO helping humanity, though, as a meteor was falling on a populated area in Mexico City? Did the UFO deviate this meteor so it didn't fall on populated areas? So my friend UFO Bloke also has this one, which is a different video footage around Mexico City of the event. So this is one, just so you see that the event did happen. There was a meteor that fell on Mexico City. And I don't know if that other video before that one is real or not, but man, it sure is pretty impressive and very intriguing, if you ask me. Um, what do you think that was? So this is the proof that yeah, there was a meteor that fell in the vicinity of Mexico, not in the populated area though. It didn't. That was wild, right? Okay. So, what did you think about that? Let me know in the comments. Now, I am going to share this one, and we'll go frame by frame. We'll talk about it a little bit. This professor was really excited. There's some longer presentation of over an hour and a half where he talks about the discovery, and he is very clearly and very evidently very excited about the discovery. And just to give you guys a little bit of a behind the scenes stuff, because we had been hearing rumors of this since 2023. And my friend Simon Holland, who's a YouTuber from the UK who lives in France, he was the first one who reported on this. And one of the most viewed episodes at the time on my channel was with him, talking to him about this. And now this comes out. So Simon got a lot of flack for daring to drop the preview of this announcement, and now this really happened. So, and he did mention that it was from Cambridge. So, I think, and I guess, some people owe Simon an apology. Don't you guys think? Because there were a lot of people really mean and rude towards Simon at the time. And now this happened. So, what gives, guys? You know?
We found the strongest evidence to date of possible biological activity on an exoplanet. DMS stands for dimethyl sulfide. This is a very important molecule because here on Earth, DMS is produced uniquely by life, microorganisms in the ocean like algae, phytoplankton. And
So, this is Professor Nikku Madhusudhan, and he is explaining what happened and why this is an important potential discovery. And there were a lot of debunkers and skeptics who obviously jumped on the train that it was too soon, it's misleading, it's all of that. But I would prefer to hear it from the man himself, from the horse's mouth, as they say, so you guys can see what this is really about. Because yesterday's announcement that I made was actually from an article from The Sun, the English British tabloid, which, in my opinion, is not very credible. And I know a lot of you will agree with me on that. But the fact is that The Sun did interview Professor Madhusudan on their website. So that's why I did it. I wanted his quotes, not necessarily because I thought The Sun is a reliable source. Sometimes they are in this case, but in other times they're not. And that's the truth. So I wanted to hear directly from him. And now we got this video that dropped just yesterday. That was another one of those major videos that dropped. So here is the continuation of this.
theoretical studies had predicted for the last 2 decades that molecules like DMS would be very robust biomarkers on exoplanetary systems, including planets with hydrogen-rich atmospheres like Haitian worlds. K218b is an exoplanet orbiting a red dwarf star about 124 light years away. It has a mass of about 8.6 Earth masses and a radius of about 2.6 Earth radii. And it orbits in the habitable zone of its host star, which means if you put an Earth like planet at its location, we would think of it as habitable.
So those are the first details of this planet. And yeah, it's in the Goldilocks zone, as they call it. And what really stood out to me from this is that it's a Haitian planet, which means it's all water, according to the professor. And the mass it has, it's impressive. It's nearly 9 times the mass of Earth and 2.6 times the size of Earth, which could potentially host life. Here are more details.
So the technique we used to determine the atmospheric composition of the planet is known as transit spectroscopy. What is happening is that you look at the planet as it transits in front of the host star. So the atmosphere of the planet, some of the starlight goes through the atmosphere of the planet before reaching the telescope. And the atmosphere, the molecules in the atmosphere absorb some of that starlight. So by looking at a differential measurement when the planet is in front of the star or when it isn't, you can extract how much absorption is happening in the planet's atmosphere.
Okay, that was a great explanation. And it's how James Webb was able to detect this. James Webb was the major tool that these astronomers were waiting for with these capabilities so it could help them get more information. And K2-18b has been talked about for a while, a couple of years at least. There are other planets that have been discovered to potentially hone life in them, but this is the one that they have the most information about and the most accuracy about. And you can see that the doctor is very much invested in this.
So 2 years ago in 2023, we reported a very tentative inference of DMS on this planet with a different set of observations with a different instrument in the 1 to 5 micron range. But the evidence was very tentative, so we looked this time at the planet again in a different wavelength range. And what we are finding is significantly stronger evidence at a 3 sigma level for the presence of either DMS or DMDS or both. Now, DMDS, like DMS, is also a strong and unique biomarker here on Earth and had also been predicted to be a biomarker on planets with hydrogen-rich atmospheres. And that is what is new, is that there's a possibility of one or both of these molecules to be present in the atmosphere at a credible level of significance. So while this is great and evidence to keep looking, this is not enough to qualify it as a robust scientific discovery. For that, we need to reach the level of 5 sigma. What does that mean? At 5 sigma, you're talking about um, the chance of a fluke being about a part in a million.
Okay, so yeah, he's this is what we needed to hear about this. It is not a discovery per se. It is the beginning of one. And it has been brewing since 2023. But now that they discovered these two aspects or biomarkers, as the doctor calls them, they are feeling increasingly more confident. And although this isn't the announcement yet, you can tell that the fact that this made the news worldwide already, it means that they are confident. And this is how confident the doctor is.
So we are pretty confident about our results at the significance that we are finding at this 3 sigma significance. And that's partly because we have done enormous number of robustness checks. We have done it with multiple pipelines, and within the same data reduction pipeline, we have tried various assumptions on how we can reduce the data. And no matter how we did it, the signal always persisted. And to us, that's a great measure of our confidence in the detection at this level. But we should remain open-minded and get more observations so we can repeat the signal. That's the hallmark of science, the repeatability and increase in robustness till we are really, really satisfied. We are not there yet.
Okay. So, as I told you before in many different podcasts that I make, the scientific method has a specific pace that it goes at. And the doctor is going at that exact pace. And although it's not yet for 100% certain, they did say 99.7% certain. And he does seem excited about it because if this is true, and it seems like it might be, this is the first time ever that something like this happens. This is a before and after when we realize that there is more life in far places throughout the universe. What I want to know is if this discovery is announced and made to 100% certainty, um, how would that help the potential uncovering of the secrets that have been kept since 1947 when Roswell took place? Could this even be linked to the whole UFO topic, or should this be treated separately? I want to know from you. Let me know what you think in the comments about this because this is a talking point that I've seen constantly since this was announced 2 days ago. So I would love to know what you think about it. Let me know in the comments.
So the question you may have is, have we found life on another planet? And this answer is simply no, not yet, right? So we have to, as I always say, we have to be very careful in two directions. The detection we have made is at a level where it is very interesting. It's a landmark result, but it is not good enough to call it robust just yet. This is a big signal we are looking at. This is of very high importance. We need more observations to get it to that 5 sigma level where we would be much more confident, number one. The second aspect of that is that when we do detect, and while we are making these observations, we also have to remind ourselves that while DMS has been predicted to be a robust biomarker, there is always a possibility that we may not have accounted for some physics that we don't know so far, or some chemical process that we don't know of. So we want to remain open and do as many theoretical calculations and lab-based studies to say if there is any process which can get DMS in such an atmosphere at the levels that we are seeing.
Okay, so he's tempering the expectation, as any scientist who is smart and does everything by the book should do. Temper the expectations. But I do have to say, this has been talked about in the background for 2 years. There seems to be a lot of people that are like very, very excited about the discovery and very confident that it is true, that we did find life in another planet thanks to the James Webb Space Telescope. So, yeah, keep your expectations tempered, but also, yeah, the data is very compelling right now, although it is not final.
This is one of the most profound moments for me personally, as well as an astronomer, because for the first time in the history of our species, we may actually be seeing signs of life elsewhere. On the other hand, this could also be a signal of a new chemical process that is not produced by life. And even that is a monumental breakthrough, because however you put it, we are seeing new chemical processes on a planet that could be habitable. And we have shown this in theoretical studies that that was possible. So this is, in my view, a transformational moment, not just for planetary science, not just for astronomy, but for finding our place in the universe as a species.
Okay, thank you to Professor Madhusudhan. He's completely right about that. Regardless of what this is at the end, it's still a major discovery just for the chemical processes alone. But you saw how hopeful he is and how excited he is. His name, if this is confirmed, is going to be in the history books forever, right up there with the biggest names you can think of in science. Even I would dare say a Nobel Prize could be awarded to him for this. I would give it to him if you ask me. I'm going to leave links in the description for this on the Cambridge. And just let me know what you think about this overall presentation from Professor Madhusudhan. And also, let me know what you think about that meteor and how it kind of seemed to change direction with a what seemed like a UFO right above it at the time it deviated. Is this even real though? Because I've checked and it seems to have happened, but I haven't found more takes on that specific frame. The meteor did land in Mexico. So, what was that? Is that even real? Let me know. I'm sure you guys are going to be like vetting it. It's a really exciting one. So, let me know what you think in the comments. And let me know what you think about this latest update from Professor Madhusudhan at Cambridge University on the K218b planet and this discovery and what it means. Let me know. If you like the content you see, I'm going to ask you to please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can get notified when new video drops. If you want to support the channel in any other way, I'm going to leave a few links in the description. Take your pick. You can also become a member. You can also support us on the KGRA website. Thank you for your support as always. That's it for me today on this video, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Remember, stay curious, stay inquisitive. Bye.